let me give you an update on a story I talked about. I think it was maybe last week. It was recent. But the story here was that a Catholic school, all women's Catholic school in Indiana, St. Mary's College, they had made a decision over the summer that they're going to change their non-discrimination policy. They were going to adapt it, expand their policy so that trans women could apply to the college next fall. And that was a pretty big deal. Like, listen, I don't know what trans women are saying, I want to go to a Catholic school for college, but also good on that college, because as I pointed out earlier tonight, the Catholic Church doesn't even think trans people exist. So for a Catholic school to say, yeah, if you're a trans woman, we're not here to judge you. Come apply to our school. We want you to be here. I thought that was a pretty courageous thing for them to do. And they made this decision in June, and they kind of announced it more publicly this month. And of course, there was outrage when that happened. But the way the school justified the decision, the school's president, Katie Conboy, she even cited Pope Francis in the letter she sent out to the school community, saying the Pope, and I'm quoting here, the Pope advocates for love as the appropriate approach to those who are different from ourselves. And she argued that caring for people, for students who are LGBTQ, that's very different from affirming their gender identities or their sexual orientations, and that a Catholic college admitting self-identified trans students, that didn't violate any Catholic doctrine. So the board of trustees at the college felt this is a good thing to do. There are actually, I think, 3 other all-women's Catholic schools in the country that have already done this, and a number of secular women's-only colleges that have done this. So they're like, we're not even trailblazing here. We're not treading new ground. We're just doing what other places have done. So that seemed interesting. And then after they announced this publicly, the bishop of the Diocese of Fort Wayne and South Bend, his name is Kevin Rhodes, he was furious. He was mad they didn't include him in their discussions before announcing this. He said, like, listen, he has more power than like a handful of very angry conservative graduates who are like, I might not give you money anymore. He has a little more power because he had the authority to block the school from identifying as Catholic. That could be a harsh penalty. He could ban the school from offering sacraments at campus chapels. He could prevent them from holding services during the week. Again, would that be a big deal for students who go to a Catholic school? Like, are trans students who go to that school are going to be freaking out because the school doesn't offer the sacraments? I don't know. There are lots of people who go to Catholic colleges for reasons that have nothing to do with their love of the Catholic Church. So, like, I didn't think that any of that would be a big deal. You could still call your college St. Mary's. You just wouldn't be affiliated with the Catholic Church. But Kevin Rhodes, the bishop, he was big mad about all of this. And I didn't think his threats mattered that much because St. Mary's College, it's a small school, 1,600 kids, but they have an endowment of over $200 million. They would be doing just fine for a long time, even if a lot of donors pull their money out. But that was the story last week. What just happened this week, unfortunately, is that the school has decided to backtrack, which is seriously disappointing. Here's the story I will share with you here. This is from just yesterday, I believe. St. Mary's College reverts to former admissions policy. Students speak out. Thought I had something highlighted here. Here we go. Here's the letter they sent out to the school community. I'm just going to scroll down here. When the board approved this update to their non-discrimination policy, we viewed it as a reflection of our college's commitment to live our Catholic values as a loving and just community. We believed it affirmed our identity as an inclusive Catholic women's college. It is increasingly clear, however, that the position we took is not shared by all members of our community. Some worried that this was much more than a policy decision. They felt it was a dilution of our mission or even a threat to our Catholic identity. Moreover, we clearly underestimated our community's genuine desire to be engaged in the process of shaping a policy of such significance. As this last month unfolded, we lost people's trust and unintentionally created division where we had hoped for unity. For this, we are deeply sorry. Taking all these factors into consideration, the board has decided we will return to our previous admissions policy. Although this has been a challenging time for our community, we believe that the college should continually grapple with the complexity of living our Catholic values in a changing world. But we also believe the college needs to do so as a community. When we disagree, we must strive to preserve the fabric of our relationships. This, at its core, is what it means to be part of a vibrant Catholic campus in this moment. Like, what are you doing? That's such a cowardly thing for them to say all the way around. Like, you don't need to preserve a relationship that is fundamentally broken, especially when the other side is seething with hatred based on their own ignorance. What happened to loving people who are different from ourselves? What happened to assurances that admitting trans women was, quote, not only in line with best practices for today's college students, but also encompasses our commitment to operate as a Catholic women's college? That's what they said originally. Was that all bullshit? Like, what sort of moral monsters look at a non discrimination policy and then update it and then are like, Control Z, we got to undo this stuff? Like, the school administrators took a tough stance earlier and they got it right. And the haters, honestly, they will do what they do every time. They would have gotten tired and bored and they would have gone away once, like, J.K. Rowling tweeted something else. They would have gone away. But instead of defending their decision on principle, the board of trustees at this school caved into the bigots' threats. Like, why? Why would you already make the difficult decision and now cave in? Like, I assume it's because of money, maybe losing its affiliation with the Catholic Church. But, like, if that's the case, why not just say that? Just say, look, we wanted to do this, but a lot of you threatened us and you promised you wouldn't donate to us, and we got to have the cash. So, trans people, you fend for yourselves. We need money. Just say that. Be honest about it. Why do that? You could have easily said something like that and make the bigots the bad guys. But this email suggests, like, we were the problem. We made a mistake. Not the people, like, who hate trans people. We're the problem here. We were wrong to consider compassion and inclusion and love. We'll never make that mistake again. Like, it's not just a bad policy move to reverse on this, it's horrible public relations. Like, who does PR for the school? That person needs to be fired. Like, what the hell? This idea that we need to explore what it means to embrace our values as a Catholic women's college. One of the other things they said in their letter later on, check this out. Um, in terms of how they're going to move forward. To this end, beginning in January, we will introduce a series of listening sessions, both on campus and online for our extended family, to explore what it means to embrace our values as a Catholic women's college. We will continue to work toward understanding how a college like ours can become a true home, a place of open doors and open arms, where everyone, with all their differences intact, belongs. That's BS. They don't want to do that. How do you listen after you've already reached your conclusion? More importantly, they've already committed to rejecting differences and shutting out certain students. How can you say you understand the importance of open arms when they're already coming in with, like, clenched fists? And don't think for a second that the right-wing bigots who got mad about this weeks ago, they're not going to shut up. They just got what they wanted. They won. That means their next step is inevitably going to be demanding the resignation of Katie Conboy and the other trustees who changed the policy over the summer. They will be out for blood now, withholding donations, throwing around meaningless words like woke, all to drive a stake through the heart of the campus. That is what right-wingers do these days. They hate education. They hate public education. They hate private education when it doesn't align with their bigotry. Of course, they are out for blood now. They're going to come after these people. Like, that's my prediction anyway. Like, and instead of taking the moral high ground, the board at St. Mary's College surrendered. Like, I say this half jokingly, but, like, they might as well just launch a new campus logo with like a single tier and a white flag because that's what they represent now. Just a dumb move all around and a disappointing one. Like, I had something nice to say about a Catholic institution. That doesn't happen very often. And then a week later, they're like, "Nope, sorry, we're still Catholic. Don't forget that, everybody. We're still bad people." Just a horrible position.